So like how you would go about, yeah, all right, I know what we'll do.
You know how you can tell he's a neat freak? The folder windows line up.
Oh, it's scary, man. I have OCD so bad, it's not even funny. So, this is actually a more or less finished mix. This is what I call like stems, the way that this is right now. But if you were doing a remix, you know, you'd be presented with all these elements and you come up with something new out of them.
Revolution.
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of different elements here. Doesn't like that one. This must be a 24-bit file. So anyway, so we've got a bunch of different elements here, and I'm going to find the vocals here really quick. If I'm working on a vocal-based track, I'll start with this vocal because it's faster. We can keep this at the tempo that it's at, basically. But if I was working on something, and very frequently I will be working on something that's slow, like Sarah McLachlan's track, I Love You. When I did that, the vocal was like 80 beats per minute, so the first thing I'll do is time stretch the vocal and make it a different tempo. One that's more appropriate for a dance floor sort of thing, if that is in fact what I'm going for. And that can be a really tedious process to get the phrasing to feel appropriate, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Because often I like using time banding a lot, which is a really old program, but works fantastic.
You still use that?
I use it all the time, yeah. That's the only thing I use for time stretching vocals. And so I'll use that, and I'll do like 4 different variations of it. So I'll do one stretching to say it's 80 beats per minute and I need to go to 130, right? Mm-hmm. I'll do one where I stretch it from 80 down to 65. So I do one that's half time, right? I do one where I stretch it from 80 to 120, 80 to 125, and 80 to 130. And then I pull the phrases out of each one of them that works the best and make a composite new vocal at the right tempo. So that's the way that I would start doing something like this. But let's say we've done that already for this. So we'll just take a peek in here and find some elements that we can use to make a mix out of it. So there's right off the bat, this vocal thing we can definitely use here. Let's just check some of these out. Hi-hat thing. What's the gated vocal thing? Right here. Yeah, so this is 134. So we can do something that's kind of like a housey thing with this. So I'll just give you a rough idea of how I go about doing this. Remix. And then I'm going to quit this, because this and Reason don't like being open at the same time. We'll go into Reason, program some house style beats, because it's a breakbeat track, so we'll do like a housey type thing with it. So let's see what we got here.
Do you usually know what kind of sound you're going for, or do you just play around until you find something?
I usually know what I'm going for in general. Like, it's hard for me to actually work if I don't know what I'm going for. Like, I have to have sort of a preconceived idea of where we're going in order to get there. I mean, some people are really good at that. It's just sort of like, all right, let's just mess around and we'll come up with something cool. But that's totally not how I do stuff. As you can see from my symmetrical folders, I have a good idea of where it's going. So I'll go into my sound library area. here, and we'll find ourselves start the kick drum. Let's see. So all 808s. Alright, so let's put in a straight up 4 on the floor kick pattern here, and make it 2 bars long, and then we're going to want to set the tempo to 134, which is the tempo of the track we're working on, so that's our kick drum. Let's find some claps. Dotted eighth note delay on those claps. I'm going to find a hi-hat. And again, it's like real rough approximation of how we really go about doing this.
Do you usually use Reason to construct beats?
I use it a lot. I use Reason. I program in the MPC 60 a lot, MPC 3000 rather, and I use Acid. I use a program called Fruity Loops, actually, on the PC that's really, really cool. Let's get like that.
What does Fruity Loops do?
It's like Reason. In fact, it's very similar to Reason, but it's just a different sort of vibe, you know? And because it's a different sort of vibe, you think differently, and I just find it really good to keep yourself thinking outside of the box, to keep changing what it is you work on, and that's why I'm so many musicians are not willing to talk about the tools that they use, and I feel like if the tools affect the music that you're making that much, you need to find some new tools, you know what I mean? If you're hoarding your secrets keeping it that close to your chest, there's something wrong, in my opinion, you know?
When you work with NSYNC or Britney, do they usually tell you exactly what they're looking for, or do you give them, or do you sort of drive the project?
Well, it depends. I'm looking for hi-hat at the same time. Working with NSYNC, working with Justin, you know, he doesn't understand the equipment and stuff, but he's got a good idea of what it is that, you know, he's looking for. But when I'm constructing a track, I prefer to do it alone, just because it's hard for me personally. I mean, some people I guess are, you know, good at it, but to have someone sort of standing over your shoulder, you know what I mean, while you're working, you know what I'm saying? In that kind of environment when you're actually working on a track, they're like, what are you doing now? 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 It's like, all right, go get you a coffee and I'll play the track when it's done, sort of vibe, you know what I mean? So here we're going to kick, clap, and hi-hat. Shorten up the hi-hat a bit. Let's find some cool offbeat sounds and stuff. Okay, so now for this, we need to tune that.